Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar where we're going to be talking about emergencies that you could encounter in life and what to do in those emergencies. And today I'm going to be working out of, let me pull it up here, and you would have all gotten, when you registered for this webinar, you would have gotten a link to this. This is the pack from heronbooks.com, and the course is called Basic First Aid in Emergencies. In the first couple of weeks of our webinars, which was now 2 months ago, which was kind of hard to believe, Remy and I here, we taught the first half of this course where we talked about basic first aid, what to do for a cut or a broken leg or a bee sting or things like this. And in our last week of the webinars here, I wanted to catch up to the rest of it and talk about just the other half of the course here, which is different emergencies, storms, fires, floods, things like that. So we're going to be going over that. Let me pop out of this. Let me pop into the Q&A. A lot of people in here saying hi. Evelyn asked, will we be covering tornadoes? We will. I don't know if we're going to cover that today, but the sequence of things we're going to cover, we're going to talk about electrical dangers, what to do if someone is being electrocuted or if there's a danger of coming into contact with dangerous electricity. We're going to be talking about fire emergencies, a little bit of how to put out a fire, and also finding out when to just don't try to put it out. Just get out of there. Just run. That's the safest thing to do sometimes. Water emergencies, what to do if someone is drowning maybe. And then we're going to be talking about tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, and storms. And we're just going to walk through this course, and I'm going to pull up the learning guide that walks us through it and do most of that with you here. Okay, let me rewind here. All right, Anjali asked, where's the other guy? The other guy, his name is Remy, and he did the first aid parts with me, and he is a teacher here at the Delphian school, and we still do have classes going on with students properly distanced and such. So he's delivering classes right now to students. He was able to join us those first couple of weeks because it was spring break, and he didn't have classes right then. A lot of people in here asking, how is Benjamin the bear? Benjamin was a teddy bear that we had that was our third co-host for the first aid seminars, and anytime we had to bandage someone up, we bandaged Benjamin. Benjamin's doing fine. He's working on his teddy bear fort out in the woods. He's very happy, and we're going to learn if he gets into some bad situations how we can help him out. I will have to I'll have to find Benjamin and bring him back. Okay, so my background for today, I chose stormy skies. This is a real picture of what it can sometimes look like when a storm is rolling in, and different kind of colors in the sky going on. I've seen skies that look like this. When there's a storm rolling in, you can get some really amazing colors going on. The other one I had ready, I'll jump to it real quick, is this guy right here. This is trouble. This is get inside and wait for the all clear, because this is a tornado sky. This kind of storm here could spawn a tornado. I've seen stuff like this too. You don't want to mess around with it. Nature is incredible. Nature is powerful, and nature does not care about you. That sounds really heartless, and I'm sorry, but it's true. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to pull up our book. Now this is what page are we in the book here? Page 16. All right, so if you got this this link to this download, then you can have that up on your screen as well, but I'll have it here and you can read along with me. Okay. Oh, before we get into that, I'm bouncing all over the place here. The first thing I wanted to cover, let's see, what to do in emergencies. Yep, that's what we're teaching. Emergency numbers. Throughout everything today and over the next two classes that I'm going to do covering this, I'm going to say call 911. What that means in America is you pick up a phone, you dial 911, and you get emergency services. In different countries throughout the world, it's a different number. The United Kingdom, it's 999. In Australia, I think it's 000. I know that we have some people that are watching from Pakistan. I looked up in Pakistan. There's a few different numbers. So it's not just one number to call for emergency services from what I could find out. In Pakistan, it's if you need the police, you dial 15. If you need the fire department, you dial 16. If you need an ambulance, it's a different number. So I don't have all of them listed here, but so throughout this, if I say dial 911, what I mean is dial the emergency number in your location. If you don't know it by heart, you should look it up after the webinar today and learn it. So you know it in any situation, no matter what's happening, you know what number to call to get professional emergency help. Here's a map of the world showing like the blue areas, the dark blue areas, the emergency number is 911, and it's 991, and oh man, it's a mess out there. I'm in favor of all the countries getting together and deciding on one number that you can call for emergencies, but that's okay. If you're going to travel to any location, find out what is the emergency number there. Okay, good. I'm going to go back to our book here and we will start reading after I look at the Q&A section. Okay. In India, it's 108. Thank you, Adya. That's good to know. Kanan asks, is 911 the smallest phone number? In America, a 3-digit number is the smallest one that you can dial and get anywhere. Different countries have different things. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Handling emergencies in the environment. An emergency is something that needs attention right away. It could be a sudden flood, a fire, or an accident. Since emergencies often happen suddenly and unexpectedly, it is a good idea to have a plan of action for the emergencies that are most likely to happen. Each kind of emergency has things that can be done about it, and these are covered in this data sheet, this course we're studying. You can also always get help by calling the emergency services number for your area. In the United States and Canada, this number is 911, but it can be different in other countries. It is always a good idea to know the emergency number for your area. If I were traveling to another country, I would definitely do my research ahead of time and find out what is the number for that area. Okay, Lorna said, Shanna and I are late. What did we miss? We're basically just getting started. We're talking about emergencies, and I talked about the pretty picture behind me. Isha asked, have you ever been in a natural disaster? Yeah, I've been in a few. I've been pretty close to a tornado. Obviously, I was totally fine. I've been in a couple of earthquakes. I've been in more than a couple of hurricanes. Those were pretty exciting. So yeah, as we cover each scenario in here, I will tell you my personal experiences in these emergency situations, if I have any. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about, electrical dangers in emergencies. Most of the time, electricity is a useful form of energy. It travels through wires and into buildings to help run lights, machines, computers, and many things that we use every day. However, electricity can be dangerous if it isn't kept inside a wire. So many electrical wires are covered by plastic insulation that keeps the electricity safely inside. If this insulation is broken or worn out, the electricity can harm someone that's touching the wire. This can cause skin burns or other injuries. When a person gets contacted by an amount of electricity that hurts her, whether a little or a lot, we say that she received an electrical shock, which is another definition for the word shock. The reason people can receive this kind of shock is because electricity travels very well through water, and a human body is mostly made of water. So when a person contacts electricity, the electricity runs through her body. When a person is receiving a strong electrical shock, the electricity can make her muscles stiffen so much that she can't let go of the wire. It might seem like a good idea to pull the person away, but this is dangerous. If you touch a person who is being shocked, you could be shocked too, because electricity can travel through your body as well. Okay. Now, I want to say just generally here, as we learn about this, we might be talking about scary stuff. We might be talking about stuff that's a little bit creepy to you. The idea of touching something and getting shocked and your body tensing up and you not being able to let go of the thing that's shocking you, that could be really scary. And it is, but we're not studying it to be scared. We're studying it to find out, what can we do about it? Anything that happens, there is something that you can do so that you are at cause over the thing that's happening, or that you can tell someone else how to be at cause over it rather than being the effect of what's happening to you. Yes, I've been in hurricanes. Almost never did I feel like I was being a victim of what was happening, or that I was at the effect of these truly tremendous forces of nature that were happening right outside my building. I did my preparation and my research. I knew what was coming and what I could do to stay ahead of what I needed to do. So if you feel scared or anything like that, that's okay. We're going to keep learning until we're not anymore. All right. You seem much more serious than usual, Alette says. That, okay, there's two reasons for that. One is I don't have another person sitting next to me that I can joke with and bounce ideas off of. The other thing is we're talking about stuff that's a little bit more serious. I was talking with Marty earlier today about oceans and fish and cool stuff. That's less serious than an earthquake or getting shocked. So I might seem serious. I'm trying to get useful information to you in a way that's helpful, but not too serious, not super. So I'm going to try to walk that fine line in between. Okay. So let me pop to the other thing that I have up here. The other thing that I pulled up, and you would have gotten a link for this as well, is the learning guide for the Basic First Aid and Emergencies course that we are learning out of. This is what the first page looks like. And again, several weeks ago, we did webinars where we went through the first several pages of this. If you missed that and you want to watch it, or you want to go back and watch it again, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/the Delphian School. It's all recorded. It's all on there. We are going to skip forward to the part of this that applies to what we're doing today. Here we go. So step one is read handling emergencies in the environment. So we read that. Okay, good. Here you would do an essay. We're not going to do that right now. I'm not going to stop and wait for you to do that. But if you want to do this at home, I highly recommend it. Okay, electrical dangers. Let's see, did we read this part? Let me pop to the other thing. All right, so we read electrical dangers. Copy that. Demonstration. At this point, you would use some physical objects to physically show, to demonstrate to someone else what this might be. Again, we're going to skip these bits, but if you have someone that you can do this with at home, again, I highly recommend it. Here's Bob, and here's a wire, and Bob touches the wire, and the electricity goes into his body, and you can use physical things to show what's occurring and get a better mental picture for yourself and physical picture for yourself of what happens. All right. Good. Indoor wires. So here's a situation. A person is being shocked by a worn or broken electrical cord and can't let go. Good. If a person is being shocked, the first thing to do is turn off the electricity. If you can reach the plug safely, pull it out. Sometimes just turning off the wall switch will turn off electricity. You can also turn off the circuit breaker. Wires in a house make a path for electricity to follow. This is called a circuit. It goes around. The circuit breaker is a switch that breaks the path and turns off electricity to a whole room or part of a house. Switches for all the circuits in a house can be found in a circuit box, and it's a good idea to know where this is. So I have a few pictures of circuit boxes if we don't know what those are already. You might have seen something like this in your house or in another building. It'll be like a gray metal cover to it usually, not every time. And this is in America. In India and Pakistan, I'm not sure what the normal look of a circuit breaker would be, or even if it's of the same design of this at all. So, you're going to want to do your own research to find out what's in your house, in your area. Sometimes there will be a lot of switches in there. Sometimes there's just 3 or 4 switches. And each of these controls a part of electricity in the house. And when the switches are pointed towards the inside like this, it means that they are on. There is electricity going to those parts of the house. And when it pops out like that, or if you push it out, it means the electricity is off. You know, I should have gotten some closer in pictures. You can't see it super well in there, but all those switches are pointing inwards. So you go in and you just take the switch and you just push it outwards. If it's a real emergency and you cannot figure out which one goes to that section, turn them all off. It might cause other problems. Don't do this right now. Don't actually do this while we're talking, because you will turn off the power to your house. You'll turn off the power to your wall outlets and your lights and your Wi-Fi, and everything will go. So don't actually do it right now. But separately, after this, get with your parents, and if you don't know where the circuit breaker is in your house, ask your mom or your dad and go find it, so that if something is happening in an emergency, you know exactly where to go to and what to turn off. Okay, I'm going to catch up on the comment section here really quick. Someone says that looks like fruit. Yeah, that's really good. Angelica asks, how do you turn off the circuit breaker? Every circuit breaker that I've seen is of this design. And you go and you just push, with your thumb or your finger, you just push the switch so it's pointing outward instead of inward. That'll cut the electricity to that part of the house. Okay, good. Good. Katya asks, are we going to talk about floods? I think so. I mean, yes, definitely. But I don't think we're going to get to that today. It is coming up, though. Part 2 of this is same time tomorrow, 1:30 to 2:15 tomorrow, Pacific time. And part 3 of this Emergencies series is going to be Thursday morning at 9 a.m. And again, if you can't make those times or you miss it, it'll be on YouTube within a couple of days. Good. Shrishti asks, how do you know which switch is which? That's a nice tongue twister there. A lot of circuit breaker boxes will have them labeled. I think almost all of them will have them labeled. It's a really good idea. If it's not labeled, I say, you know, get with someone who knows what goes where and do label it. You can see on these here, there's little things taped next to it. You can't read it right here, but it'll say, you know, this might say, oh, this says outlets, and this says kitchen or something like that. So there will be labels next to the different switches that says, so you know that the thing is happening in the kitchen, you turn off the one that says kitchen. Okay, I should have gotten better pictures of that. Okie doke. Let us pop over to the next thing. So, what to do if this is happening? A person is being shocked by a worn or broken electrical cord and can't let go. The first thing to do is turn off electricity. So, don't touch the person. Again, they're being shocked. They are a conductor for electricity. It can go through them. You touch them, it can go through you too, and it probably will. Step 2 is turn off the electricity. If you can get to the wall socket safely and the cord is not broken or wet, pull the plug out of the socket. Or turn off the power with the wall switch, or go find the main power at the circuit breaker and flip that switch to the off position. And next, give first aid to the person that has been burned. We covered that in prior classes, and you can go watch those videos. And if the person has been badly shocked, call 911 or the emergency number for your area. An outdoor wire. The thick electric wires attached to telephone poles are called power lines. These bring electricity to all the buildings in a neighborhood, so they carry much more electricity than house wires. In a storm, they can be torn down by wind or falling branches and hang low or lie on the ground. A power line that has electricity traveling through it is called a live wire. It's alive. Sometimes there are sparks, smoke, and fire where a live power line is touching the ground, but a power line can still be live even when you don't see these. So let's say, You know, you go outside, there's been a bit of a storm, a windstorm, and some trees are down, and you go outside and you see some power lines on the ground out there. Do not touch the power line or anything in contact with it, even a person. Even if someone's over there and they look like they're in trouble and there's a wire there on the ground, even if you don't see sparks or anything like that, you have to assume that there is electricity coming from that. And as much as you want to go and help that person, you will put yourself in danger if you go closer. So don't touch the power line. Stay as far away as possible, more than 50 feet, and call 911 or your emergency number. They will come, the fire department, the police, they'll come. They'll be able to turn off the electricity to those wires. They might shut down the entire neighborhood just to make sure it's safe. These guys know what they're doing. Okay. That's all we're going to talk about that. And we're going to move on to fire emergencies. I'm just going to see if there's any last questions about this, and then we're going to move on. Okay, someone's asking for the link to these sheets. The email that you used to sign up for today's classes, the link will be in there. And when this class is over, within the next 24 hours, you'll get another email saying thank you for attending, and the links will be in that one as well. Okay, AG asks, can someone die instantly from an electrical shock? Unfortunately, yes, that can happen. If it's too much electricity, that could happen. But we're learning about what we can do to be at cause over this stuff so that we can handle the situation. If there's any danger, you do call 911 and get the professionals to come in and help. All right. Yikes, that is scary. Yeah, Adia, it is. Unfortunate things happen sometimes, but we're going to give ourselves as many tools to be better than the emergencies that we can encounter. Okay, good. I'm going to move on to fire emergencies here. All right. Fires are not common, but they do happen. There are things that you and your family can do to lessen the chance that you will be hurt by one. Using candles safely, keeping a fire extinguisher handy in the kitchen or near a fireplace, and keeping matches stored where small children cannot find them. These all help prevent fires in the first place. Having working smoke detectors in your home makes it more likely that you would know about a fire and would be able to get out of the house quickly if you need to. Smoke detectors are super annoying. They make those loud chirping sounds. They're really annoying. That's on purpose. They're supposed to be annoying. They're supposed to have a sound that just gets your attention no matter what else is happening. When smoke detectors start to run low on batteries, they start to chirp. Every few minutes, they'll chirp. And I know that some people want to disconnect the smoke detector so it stops chirping. Don't do that. Fix it so it has a fresh battery in it or so that it's connected properly. You want that thing going off if there's an emergency. It's kind of annoying on purpose. Use that annoyance to help you survive, okay? That's not in the course here. That's just my personal suggestion to all of you. Okay. Let's see. Someone says that their fire alarm goes off whenever they have steak. Yep. That's just gonna, if that happens, then that happens. I would rather have my fire alarm go off while I'm cooking than not go off if there's a real fire in my house. Yep. Okay, good. How to put out small fires. When you understand how a fire burns, it is easier to put out. Fires need 3 things to burn: fuel, heat, and air. If you take away one or more of these, the fire goes out. How you do this depends on what is burning and what you have nearby that you can use. There's the fire triangle: heat, air, fuel. You need all 3 of them or it doesn't happen. Fuel. The fuel is, this is what is on fire, like wood or paper. If all the fuel has burned up, a fire will go out. You can sometimes move burning material to a place where it will not spread and that it can burn out safely. For example, you can carry a small trash can outdoors or move a pan off a hot stove. You can also move burnable things away from a fire. For example, you would clear away wood or paper near a campfire. The fire won't spread if it has nothing new to burn. Heat. When things burn, they get hot, and the heat then keeps the fire going. By cooling the thing that is burning, whatever the fire is using for fuel, then you can put out a fire. This is why firefighters pour water on a fire. It cools the burning material and puts it out. Here are some things that you could use to cool a fire. Water, obviously, snow, wet leaves, wet dirt or sand, or a wet towel or a wet blanket. You would not want to use a dry blanket or a dry towel because that would be more fuel. That would burn. But if you get a soaking wet towel, you like dip it in the sink and then use it to like cover a thing that's on fire, that's good. It's a good way to get the water onto there. However, water or wet cloth should not be used on electrical or oil fires. When you use water on an electrical fire, you can be shocked. And when you put water on an oil fire, the oil may spatter and spread the fire. Lastly, air. A fire needs air to burn. If there is no more air, the fire will go out. Here are some ways to cut off air to a fire. Cover it with a wet blanket or a towel. Cover it with dirt or sand. It doesn't even need to be wet, just dirt or sand. It gets the air out. And if the fire is in a pan or a trash can, cover it with a lid. If the fire is in a pan, you can pour on enough salt or baking soda to cover the fire and put it out. These are used because they will not catch fire. That's super handy. I have a couple of fire extinguishers throughout my house, but I also have two little ones. I should have brought it. I'm going to bring it tomorrow when we talk about emergencies again. These little, they're about the size of my coffee cup. And they're a fire extinguisher. You can spray it on a pan that's on fire, and it'll put out the fire. Super handy. All right. Good. Lachlan with the real questions here. What if the fire catches your donut on fire, but you still want your donut, so you grab it? Well, Lachlan, at that point, it's time to get a new donut. Abandon the donut. There's more donuts in this world, and your hand is more important than the donut. Okay. All right. Kanan said, one time we had a campfire and a spark came from it and a log near it caught on fire, but it was only a small fire on the log. Yeah, that's why it's a good idea to move anything that could catch on fire away from the thing that you want to burn. If you have more wood that you're going to add to the fire, set it 6 feet away or something like that. It's still easy to grab it and put it on, but it's not so close that if a big spark falls out of the fire or something, it'll catch it on fire before you want it to be on fire. Angelica asks, how do you know if it's an electrical or oil fire? So probably when you think fire, the first thing you think of is, well, like this illustration up here where there's wood and there's flames coming out of that. If there's a power line that's down on the ground and you see sparks and smoke and flames coming out of it, then that will be an electrical fire. And in oil fire, let's say you're cooking something in your kitchen, French fries, and you're cooking the French fries in oil and something happened and catches on fire. I guess I can't go through every single example of each of those three types, but that's something that you can do a little bit more research on yourself to get familiar with the difference of different types of fires. But we're going to talk about something that'll fix all three types of fires. Anyway, so let me move on. Good. Using fire extinguishers. Okay. When you extinguish a flame or fire, you make it stop burning. A fire extinguisher is a metal container filled with a powdery chemical that can put out small fires. It does this by both cooling the fire and keeping fresh air out of it. There are different types of fires, and fire extinguishers are labeled according to the type of fire that they can put out. Type A is used on things that burn easily like paper, wood, cloth, and plastics. Type B is used on burning liquids like gasoline, kerosene, grease, and oil. There's my French fries. Type C is used on electrical fires. Most fire extinguishers that you see are marked ABC and can be used on all three types of fires. And here's a picture of the kind of standard looking fire extinguisher that I'm familiar with, at least. And I think that this will look very familiar to many of you. And it'll say on it in big letters, it'll say ABC. I think Simon is right outside the door and he's watching this webinar. And Simon, if you could grab the fire extinguisher from right outside that door, I want to demonstrate with it. So it'll say ABC on it in big letters. And that means, there's the thumbs up from Simon. That means you can use it on all types of fires. Are you not sure if it's a grease fire or an electrical fire or like a wood fire? That's great. If it says ABC, spray it on it. Yeah, thank you. There we go. Here is one of the fire extinguishers that we have at the school. It's got this handy tag on it that they use to show when was it last inspected. Let's see, it was inspected in April of this year. Excellent. You can see on big letters right there, it says ABC. So I know that this fire extinguisher I can use on anything that's on fire. It's got some instructions on it, and we're going to talk about how to use this properly. Yeah, good. Set that right there. My new co-host. Excellent. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I have several people asking if I can put the links into the Q&A section here. I will do that at the very end of this, but I need you to stop putting that in the Q&A section so much. I see it, but it's kind of clogging up the conversation there. So I do see it, and I'll try to add that in there at the end of this when we're done with the talking bit. Okay, good. Anjali, I'm not going to spray this. I know several of you are asking for me to spray this right now. I will not be doing that, but I have a video of someone doing one. The only time that you want to use one of these inside is if there's an actual fire. Okay, let me go back to here. Good. Now this this labels different parts of it. The big red bit, that's the tank that has the chemicals in it. The nozzle is where the stuff sprays out of. The nozzle for this one and many other ones, it's on the end of a little hose here, and you can use it to aim at different things. Very, very useful. And we've got bits on top that you squeeze together to spray it. There's always going to be a pin in it that keeps you from squeezing it when you're not actually trying to. You don't want to do it by accident. So here's how to use a common ABC fire extinguisher. Hold the fire extinguisher in your hands or hold it by the carrying handle. There we go. Set it down on a solid surface like my table. Pull out the pin in the operating lever. This unlocks it so that you will be able to squeeze together the operating lever and the carrying handle. Again, I'm not going to pull this pin out, but if I needed to use it, I would rip and it would come out. And then hold the fire extinguisher by the carrying handle and carry it to the fire. Stand about 6 feet back from the fire and aim the nozzle at the bottom of the fire, not at the flames itself. You want to get where the fire is coming from, because you can spray the flames and it just puts new flames in there. So you see this guy here is spraying at the trash can, into the trash can, and not straight ahead of him at the flames and at the smoke. Squeeze the operating lever and carrying handle together and spray in short bursts. If the spray misses, adjust your distance from the fire. If you're not close enough, get a little bit closer. If you're too close, if you're feeling that heat, you want to get a little bit farther back. Spray from side to side until the fire is out. Now I have a little video of someone doing this. Let me pull that up. How much time we got? About 10 minutes, good. Okay, let's see. You won't have any sound from this, but that's okay. Let's see, you don't need any sound from it. Here we go. It's going to give you a word that you can use to remember the correct actions, and that's pass, P-A-S-S. And I will explain what those are as it goes along here. Here's a couch that's on fire. P is, oh, there we go. P is to pull the pin out. So she pulls out the pin. A is aim at the base. S is squeeze the trigger, and S is sweep side to side. And there we go. That worked pretty well. Let me play that again. P-A-S-S. P is to pull the pin. Blook. A is to aim it at the base of the fire. S is to squeeze the trigger, and the other S is to sweep side to side. And there we go. If you have a chance to practice using a fire extinguisher, let's say you have an old fire extinguisher at your house and your parents are gonna get a new one or something like that. If you have a chance to actually practice with these with an adult in a controlled environment, maybe you have a fire pit in your backyard and you can practice on that. This is a really good thing to practice on before you need to use it in an actual situation. If you do not have an adult with you and you don't have supervision, don't practice with it. That's not a good idea. All right. Megna, oh, hello, Megna, asks, what is in the fire extinguisher? There's different chemicals in here, and the chemicals are ones designed to smother a fire, to make it so that air with oxygen cannot get to it, and to cool it down. You don't want to inhale a bunch of this stuff. Someone's saying, don't point the fire extinguisher at the camera. I won't. You don't want to breathe a bunch of this stuff, but if you get a bit on you, if you breathe in a little bit, it's not super bad, but you don't want to go intentionally exposing yourself to it. It's more important to put the fire out. So that's what's in there. Yes, a bunch of people saying, do not try this at home unless there's a fire. For real, do not do this inside. Yeah. Social distancing. Yeah, you want to definitely socially distance yourself from the fire as you use the fire extinguisher. A nice, good, 3 feet away, 6 feet away. Okay, good. Let me get to the next thing here. All right, how to put out some different kinds of fires. So let's say that there's a paper fire in a trash can. If you can handle it safely, take the trash can outside and just let it burn out. Or you could smother the fire with wet towels or a lid. Or if you've got a fire extinguisher and there's fire in a trash can, good time to use this. All right, what if there's an oil fire in a frying pan, like when I try to make those fries? Oil burns easily, and burning oil can splash out of a pan and spread a fire. It can also cause burns. Yeah, when you're handling a pan with burning oil, move it gently. Don't put the pan under running water, because this can make the hot water splatter and cause burns. I've seen videos of people that there's a fire on the stove, out of a pot or a pan, and they spray water on it from the sink, and the fire just goes everywhere. Not good, not good. That's just spreading the burning oil. So, action. Smother the fire. You could cover the pan with a lid or pour salt or baking soda on it. You could carefully remove the pan from the burner and let the fire burn out. This is all very dangerous. Or just set it aside. Do not run outside with the pan, because that might splash burning oil around. And again, tomorrow when I did the second half of this, I will be bringing in my little travel fire extinguisher. Basically, it's about the size of this cup, and you can use that to put out a fire as well. All right, what to do if your clothes are on fire? If a person's clothes are on fire, the thing to remember is stop, drop, and roll. I hope you all know this phrase, and I hope you all knew what I was going to say before I said it, because it's really important. Running or waving arms only gives the fire more air, and it makes it burn more. The person should drop to the ground and roll back and forth to cut off air to the fire. You know what? Let's drill this. This is something I'm going to do right now. You can't see me do it because I'm going to go out of the camera here, but I'm going to drop to the ground. I'm going to roll around and pretend to put out the fire. And if you're able to do that right now, you should do it too. Okay, I'll be right back. Dropping. I'm rolling. Okay. You can take my word for it. I just put out the fire, the imaginary fire that was on my shirt. Good. Whew, glad you couldn't see that. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay, a couple of questions here. What if you're in dry grass? All right. Noah, good question. I would try to find a spot that had the least amount of dry grass around it. But if I'm on fire and even if there's dry grass, I'm still going to stop. I'm going to drop. I'm going to roll around, because even if the grass is super dry and flammable, if I'm rolling around, I'm smothering that grass at the same time that I'm smothering the fire on my shirt. It's a good chance you'll put it all out. Oh, I was still sharing my screen when I did the, well, that's fine. I was out of frame anyway. You couldn't see it. All right, someone asked what to do if you're surfing and a shark takes your arm. I'm not going to cover that in the thing today. We're talking about a few things, but we might talk about that in a future one. And you can go back to our first aid YouTube videos, and we talked about what to do if there's a really deep cut and a lot of bleeding. That would be good for that. All right. Oh, if there's a pool nearby, should you jump in? Yes or no? Yes, Anjali. If you're on fire and there's a pool, dude, get in that pool. Just jump right in. That's even better than stopping, dropping, and rolling. Okay, got a couple minutes left. We're gonna try to wrap this up here. So action: stop, don't run. Drop to the ground and cover your face with your hands. Oh yeah, that's important. If you're on fire, you'd rather burn your hands than your face. Your face is more important. So cover your face with your hands. Even if your hands are kind of hurting, that's fine. You don't want to hurt your face. And then roll back and forth to smother the flames. Look at this guy. He's got a fire on his back, rolls around. He's good to go. After the burning clothes are out, there are 2 other steps to take. Remove the burned clothing and cool the burned skin with cool water. Be careful. Burned clothing or skin can still be hot even though the flames are out. Call 911 or your emergency number if there is still a fire or if the person is badly burned. Always make sure that burning clothes are out before doing anything else. Yeah. Okay. Now, situation: electrical fire indoors. A worn or broken wire can start a fire if it touches wood or some other material that can burn. So the steps to take is you turn off the power, you put out the fire with an ABC or a BC fire extinguisher. So again, ABC, let me scroll up to this. A is like wood, paper, cloth, plastic. B is burning liquids like gasoline, kerosene, grease, and oil. And C is for electrical fires. Okay. Back down here. Do not use water because you might get shocked because there's that wire that started the fire. If you can't turn off the power, you can still try to put out the fire with the fire extinguisher if you can get to it safely. And the last thing, we're wrapping up right now, but I want to just cover this very last thing here. It's a fire emergency plan. It's a good idea to have a family escape plan in case a larger fire does happen in your house. The plan should include 2 ways, if possible, to get out of every room or area in your home, and a safe place outside where all family members can meet when they get out of the house. This way, that you know everyone is out. If you all go to different spots, it's hard to tell. Your family should drill the plan. This is like doing a fire drill at school. You could start with each person in their bedroom. Have one person press the alarm button on a smoke detector to start the drill. This lets you hear the sound you will need to recognize in a real fire. Everyone should get out of the house using the plan and go to the outside meeting place. You could also practice with people in other rooms besides their bedrooms. The idea is to know the plan so well you remember it in an emergency. Even a little fire can make a lot of smoke and make it hard to see or breathe. Because smoke rises, the air can be clearer near the floor. So if you crawl close to the floor, to the exit, you will be able to breathe better. When you're making your fire plan, it might be a good idea to think about how you would get out of your house if you had to crawl through smoke. You might even want to practice this. Okay, we are going to take a break here. I'm going to end today's webinar. I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes in the Q&A section. I'm going to try to get that copy of the link to the learning guide and to the book. But again, whatever email you used to sign up to this, even if it was your parents, you'll get it. You will have gotten an email, and you'll get another one with a link to the book and to the learning guide that we're teaching out of today. And we're going to pick this up exactly where we left off when we come back tomorrow. All right. Let me go to the final thing here. Oh, there we go. Some other pictures. This book, if it is available, actually this course is for free at heronbooks.com. If you want anything else from that site, you can use the promo code Delphian30 to get 30% off of everything on that website if it's not already free. Okay, bye everyone. See you tomorrow.